Now. There's something else you need to know. One of the other things offered by the authorities, and when I say the authorities, I'm largely pointing to the police department. This is the Buckeye Police Department, for all practical purposes, was the suggestion that Daniel may have been, now this comes from the father, Daniel may have been interested in becoming a monk and basically stage the occurrences to become a part of the monks without having to reveal any information to his parents, friends, and so forth for any unimaginable reason. The things people can come up with is just unbelievable. Now, maybe I'm talking out of place. I don't know. But I tell you this, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because it does not truly reflect within reason. I mean, why would you have to destroy your car to be a monk? Doesn't make sense. And what young kid, 24 years of age, listen to this, 24 years of age, you're worried about what your parents think about what you do? I got kids, give me a break. Does not happen. Well, if it does, it's very seldom. I'll put it that way. Very seldom. So we have a situation where the best we can get from the authorities are those two suggestions. He probably hurt himself, wandered off. What's been disclosed is that he was rather familiar with the desert. Certainly, if his company is sending him out into the desert, if he was not familiar with the desert, and I don't see how he couldn't have been, considering he was a geologist, they would have given him some sort of training and course with respect to what to expect and how to conduct himself in the desert. But even with all of that, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. How do you explain the fact that the vehicle is found in an area that had previously been searched? Something happened, I can't say what, but something happened prior to that vehicle winding up where it did. There was no sign of blood in the vehicle. That is possible. That is quite possible. The vehicle had landed on the passenger side at the bottom of this ravine. Now, no blood. Again, possible. Likely at a drop like that? Not very likely. Not making sense at all. The phone. His father makes note of the fact that he tried to reach out to his son somewhere during the course of that day, perhaps maybe a little later in the evening. And by that time, whatever happened to Daniel had probably already taken place, in my view. And he couldn't get through. Everyone knows how vital a cell phone is. Now, granted, I don't know the terrain, whether or not the terrain can support enough signal for a cell phone. But I'll venture to say this. I do believe if in fact that was any bit of a concern, the employer gave him the type of equipment that will enable him to make contact if contact was warranted. And I say that because remember, his co-worker got in contact with the company prior to leaving the site himself. So apparently there was some degree of communicative vehicle, that is, that the vehicle um, on or about the time that, or on or before the time that the airbags deployed, the vehicle had raced, increased speed, and basically what they were suggesting that that Daniel was trying to, let's say, jump the ravine somehow. Uh, Again, that's a little questionable. And in any event, I say that because of what the private investigator that's working the case, this guy Jeff McGrath, he mentioned that if anything, the RPMs on the vehicle had actually slowed down. You see, so again, this is questionable. Most police well, a lot of police departments will have their own reconstruction units. People have car accidents all the time, and sometimes they're called in with very questionable car accidents, especially when someone needs some water, especially when someone dies. So this is. It's very unfortunate, and God bless this father. My God, this man traveled by car from South Carolina to Arizona, has been there for months, looking for his son. He's moved from the hope and prayer of physically finding his son, as opposed to from rescue to recovery. And that's a very, very difficult place for any parent, any person that knows someone to be in to make that transition. But in any event, from an investigative point of view, talking to the agent, talking to the young man that worked with him, they would for the most part be leads of some sort. It's hard to determine to what degree. But the police department, I could not imagine them not being familiar with whatever nuances occur in that desert. It's a part of their, what we call back in the day, it's a part of their billywhack, their jurisdiction. You know basically what happens in your terrain, so to speak. Not to say that means they know what happened to Daniel Robinson, but what it does mean is they have something that they can piece together, at least better than what they came up with. I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just calling a shot a shot. It is what it is. In any event, I'd like to thank you all for taking your time, your precious time to hear this. I brought it out because I hadn't heard about it for quite some time, and this thing happened a considerable time ago. And it's just sad. Things like this happen. Nobody knows anything. The main, what we call our mainstream media, you have to wonder just how mainstream they are at times. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to happen. The coverage, well, they said there's nobody in the desert. But again, in looking at some information that I found, there was the place where the vehicle was found. There's something referred to as a substation that was about 9/10 of a mile away from where that vehicle was found. And someone suggested maybe that's where Daniel had headed it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Especially considering, as I said earlier, where the vehicle was found, when it was found, in spite of the fact of all the different coverage that had covered that area. It's not making sense. It's not making sense at all. But the police have databases that they use for different things that happen there. Listen, those persons helping out the father had found human bone remains that weren't discovered by the police. Yeah, you gotta think about this stuff. Anyway, listen, I thank you all for hanging in there with me. Share these videos. People need to know what's going on that you're not hearing from where you expect to hear it. People should be talking about this. This man is going crazy trying to find his son. Shouldn't be this way. Dream with purpose, act with intent. Subscribe. Leave a comment. Push, tap, click, whatever that notification bell. What can I tell you? I am who I am. In any event, everyone be well. Dream with purpose, act with intent.